Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I am super excited to have back with me none other than Mr. Vinnie Vincent. This past weekend, I was at his May Metal Madness party, and Vinnie was kind enough to sit with me for an hour, giving me an exclusive interview at his party. We covered a whole bunch of topics, including the Vinnie Vincent Invasion last concert, what it was like when Vinnie got that call in 1989 or 1990 to come work with Kiss again on the Revenge album. We cover a little bit more information about his albums he plans on releasing in the next year. He also gives us an update on the box set, as well as some more thoughts and insights on the DVD he filmed from his last party. There's a whole bunch of information in this that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. There's lots of other topics covered as well, so let's jump in and let's get started.
I don't know about you guys, but I had a blast.
Absolutely. I think that's gone all about we have, right? That we had a great time. We had a great time watching that 2-hour performance today.
2 hours, right? Is that all it was? It was 2 hours?
That's all. I was exhausted watching it. So 2 hours. I think everybody can say they had a great time today so far. Thank you.
Did you guys have a good time? Yeah! Was I magnificent?
Always got you!
What I want to do, though, is take us back August 26th, 1988.
Whoa.
The last Vinnie Vincent Invasion show for the All Systems Go tour.
Whoa.
What do you remember about that show?
I couldn't wait to go home. I couldn't wait because it was like it was a good dream gone bad. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but it was a great, it was like a magnificent dream that I had that I thought started wonderful, and it gave me everything I wanted musically, but the combination of things just didn't play through the way I wanted it to. So after that, I said, okay, I'm going home. I'm going to revamp everything and go back to the beginning, where the beginning for me was 84. 83, 84. It's mainly 84. And last I heard from a few bandmates was, I think it was March. What was the last Kiss tour? Last Kiss
April
show?
of 84. I think it was April 17th, 84.
You remember,
right?
Wow.
If I got my dates right.
April 17th.
Give or take a
84.
day.
You're right. So a few of my bandmates said to me, we're going to get together in 6 weeks and we're going to play each other the songs that we wrote for the new record. So you go home, write your songs, we're gonna write, and we'll meet in about six weeks. So I had gone into a recording studio, and I had all these songs written. One of the I had actually the first side of Vinnie Vincent Invasion was all written within 6 weeks. So the boys have been rock shooting full of love, Animal, Twisted, No Substitute. And I thought, everybody knows this story, so I won't go too much into it. But what that led into was one situation with my ex-bandmates didn't work out the way I was hoping, so it led into something that was going to be called Vinnie Vincent Invasion, which really was not intended to be a band. Vinnie Vincent's Invasion was essentially me. I was signed to the record label. My idea was to create the music, record it, and have a very limited, my scenario would have more or less been not a band, but a solo artist. So where that took me was the direction had shifted. It took me into a place I wasn't really wanting to go, which was create a band. But it was the era of rock bands. And if you were a solo artist in those days, it was, you were very different. You were on the outside of the mainstream, right? As opposed to the
I was
bands.
thinking, absolutely.
The bands were on the mainstream, you know?
Yeah.
So, you tell me, what was the band situation like? Everybody was cute, good looking,
Without a doubt.
image,
Lots of makeup, lots of hair.
lots of makeup, lots of hair, image, cute. And talent really was not as important as just image. So, what began for me as a solo project was handpicked. It was, all I wanted was a singer, one singer that could execute my songs the way I had envisioned them to be. And when I met Robert Fleischman, I went, oh my God, never has there been a voice like that. So for me, it was my Jimmy Page, Robert Plant moment in time, where I thought I just found everything that was important to me, musically speaking. And Vinnie, Vincent, and Nation really was the name of the album. It was not the name of a band, but of course, as things would, as life would have things, I was walking into an unknown world at that time. And we always say, if I knew then what I know now, you know? But life doesn't give you that wisdom until when it wants you to know what it wants you to know. So at that time, and I'm going back, I'm going to be answering your question, so it's coming around.
I figured that's
So,
okay. Tell your story. Your story.
So, where this went was the dream, the creative dream, the achieving that goal, that vision I had, and I said, I found it. You know, I found it. I can't believe I found it. And I bet everything, every last penny I had I left a band, I left a very big band to do this without any guarantees. I was completely vulnerable. I was alone. I was just operating on a hope, a dream, a prayer, and an idea, and songs. So I remember demoing everything in a recording studio, and I sat back and I listened and I said, this is so good, you know, this is way better than I ever thought I could achieve. And I couldn't work things out with my bandmates on a business level. And I said, okay, live or die, I'm rolling the dice. Let it roll, you know, I'm gonna gamble my life away on this. But I believed in it. So it wasn't as much of a gamble because I was dead sure of what I was hearing musically on tape. So the demos we ended up with Robert Fleischman singing, was Boys Are Gonna Rock, Shoot You Full of Love, and No Substitute. So with all the songs I recorded, those were the songs that I said, okay, I'll take 3 songs and try to find a record deal. So I played it for all the people I knew at that time. Wow, Vinnie, you really got something. This is real impressive. But it wasn't until it found Chrysalis Records that they flipped out and flew me to New York, because I was living in California then. And they flew me to New York City, and they said, we're signing you right now. This is everything we had been looking for. Okay, so now we got into the two versions of Chrysalis Records, because this is going back, just going to answer your questions. There's two versions of Chrysalis Records that existed from the time that I signed with them in 1985. They signed Vinnie as a solo artist. Vinnie Vincent was a solo artist. And they essentially let me have total freedom in the recording studio. It allowed me to produce the record. And they saw my vision as I saw it. By somewhere about the same, within 18 months, they went through an entire upheaval within their creative structure of that record label. And they brought in new people. And new people said, oh, let's commercialize Vinnie. Let's make Vinnie commercial. Let's make Vinnie mass appeal. Let's play the game. And I said, no, that's not what Vinnie Vincent is. You don't understand it. You don't get it. So they said, well, let's go with cute and happy. And I said, don't do it. So in comes new management, in comes new record people, in comes new perception of Vinnie Vincent. So by the time the new perception came in, I said, either you do it my way or I am aborting everything. It's abortion. I said, you're not going to do it. And they said, oh yeah, we're doing it. Because if you don't do it, we have tours lined up, we've got this lined up, that lined up, this lined up, and you will press a self-destruct button on your career. So it was a very difficult moment for me. Now, where I'm going with this is when I said, if I knew then what I knew now, I would have said, go ahead, blow it up. You press the button, nuke it, I don't give a shit. Because I know what's right for me musically, I know where I want to go. You guys want to blow it up, it's your business. But if you want to see the real deal, you let me do what I need to do. But that didn't happen because I was not where I am today. So, circling back to this question, brought me into, what was the date of that show?
August 26, 1988 in Anaheim, California.
So with All Systems Go, it was an album that I thought was, going into it, I said, okay, can I make this work? Can this be, as good as I want it to be? I love the songs, but by the time the record got recorded, I knew halfway into it, it wasn't going to work for me. So I said, I'm staying home. I should pull the plug on this, but for reasons I just explained to you, I didn't. So it just was, like, let's get this over with, and let me just revamp everything, So that date that you're talking about was the last show. The last show in my mind was, get me in the limousine, let me go home. I've got the new record already planned. I'm canceling out this thing that it manifested into. And I was getting everybody back that made the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion what it was. It says, okay, no problem. I've got all these new songs written. And I can remember the drive home was like a mental cleansing process for me. So I had, the new album had already been recorded mentally. You know, I heard it, I knew the songs were all written, I had everything finished and ready to go. So I said, I need a vacation. So I went on vacation somewhere for a couple of weeks, and my management company called me and said, Chrysalis, we have a little problem. I said, what is that? He said, their legal department had forgotten to pick up your option for a third album. So they want to know if you would waive their error, their mistake. I said, well, what happens if I don't waive their error? He said, you're out of your contract. I said, I think it's time to go. I said, let's get out of this, you know? So I had been a free agent then after that. So I said, I'm sorry, the direction you're taking Vinnie, Vincent into and trying to mass appeal me is not gonna work with the formula that they wanted to put me into. You know, you can't formalize certain artists. You can't create, if we add this ingredient, boom, it's gonna come out exactly what we want. So I didn't think, and I still think that all my decisions were right for me at the moment, at that time. So I said, look, let me decline. I didn't want to leave them, but the people that they had hired at Chrysalis did not have the vision. They couldn't see exactly who I was as an artist. So I thought, all I need is my music. It doesn't really need a record label, because it will find where it's going to go. It'll find the right place, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But at that time, we're talking 1989, I went to record Guitarmageddon, and this was 89 and 90. And I went through a lot of process before I got to, I went through different singers before I got to the right formula again, which at that time was Robert Fleischman. So let's just go back to what we had, you know? So we recorded the record, and I had signed with a record company, and they had gone bankrupt. I said, well, that's cool. I got my tapes. I've got all my master tapes. Because the record company was not that important of an issue to me. What was important was that, you know, I sometimes I block things out. What should be really important sometimes isn't. And a record company was just made more or less just a vehicle, you know? But I'm still gonna, my music was, it was gonna get me where I wanted to go as long as it was pure. So I'm a purist is really what I'm trying to say. So if it's not pure and right for me, it doesn't work. I don't care what record company, what this, what that, but it's that music, it's that result, it's what my ear hears that says, you got it, you did it, you know. So without that, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, it's all just window dressing, it's you know, it's that crapola that you go, oh, looks good, but ultimately, you know, did it serve the artist? Is that artist well represented? And it works for a lot of people, but at that point it didn't work for me. So I took all the master recordings, took them home with me, and the 90s had now come into play. Go ahead.
Well,
You got questions,
Yeah,
right?
let me interrupt you for a moment. Right, so it sounds to me like coming off the stage that night, you kind of knew that was going to be the end of that version of Vinnie Vincent Invasion or Vinnie Vincent, right? there was hopes to put out a third album,
Yes.
back with Robert again. But at the same time, you got a phone call from your old band
Yes.
looking to work with you again.
Yes.
How did that come about, and were you surprised to get that phone call? Because you just alluded to the fact that in '84 you kind of
Come on over.
right, so you just alluded to the fact in '84, right? You kind of walking off the stage with them, never coming to an agreement with them on the business aspect of things. How surprised were you in '89 or '90 when you got that call, and who was the one that actually called you?
Okay. This is what I remember. It was 89, 89 to 90. It was right there at the breaking point. I was in an office of A&M Records in Los Angeles, and I was sitting there, and in walks Gene. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, Vinnie, Vincent, what are you doing? Oh, good to see you, It was really nice to see him. And by the way, we had a fantastic band. The lineup of Eric Carr, myself, Gene Simmons, and Paul Stanley, best band ever.
Yeah.
In my opinion. That was my ultimate band. So, just to let you know my feelings, my true feelings. It wasn't going to get much better than that, I don't think it could have been. So, unfortunately, we couldn't work out other things that were important too, but okay. So we got to talking, hey, it's really great to see you, do you miss me? I miss you. And I did, I missed them. I really missed both of them. We had a lot of fun together, a lot of good times. And he said, no, I don't miss you. I said, no, that's okay, I miss you too. But anyway, so seriously speaking, I don't know how it really came about, but it was, we sat there, and I think it was just talk. We wrote some great stuff together, So what are you doing? Oh, we're recording a new record. And I think I said to him, well, let's write together, come on, what we do is great. So I said, if you want me, here's my number, give me a call. Let's just do it again. And a few days later, actually, I think it was either the next day, I think it was the next day or that evening, we went out to dinner at the Melting Pot. I never forget this. There was a place called the Melting Pot on right in Hollywood, not far from A&M Records. And Paul came down, Gene, myself, and there was someone else I can't remember at this moment. And we just sat there and had some dinner and didn't talk, about the band or anything. But I think it was just shortly after that, I think it was Gene who called. Said, well, let's get together at my house and see what we come up with. And, we have in my opinion, I think if we worked together today, we would kill. We would just kill. There's a certain thing we have, I don't know. Some people just always have that thing, And I think we have that. So we got together and we went through all of the ideas, and they were pretty good, and little by little we go, I like that one, and that's kind of how it happened. And I always brought my cassette recorder with me to record everything, because in those times, I guess it would be about the same today, but if you come up with an idea, the next day you're going to forget it. So it was just having my tape recorder there so we could remember what we came up with.
Let me ask you one thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
you said you were writing for Tom Get.
Yes.
Tom Get. And also, right, what any of the Kiss songs early versions for that album? Like, did you keep the two projects separate?
The two projects were separate, yeah. There was no Kiss ideas, there was no Guitar-Mageddon ideas that ended up on Revenge. But the real interesting thing that happened was in watching, coming up with a lot of different songs and then saying, that's that one I like, And once we got to that place where we were scoring, as far as I'm concerned, we hit home run after home run, and I still have the recordings.
You guys wrote more than just the 3 songs that are on the album.
Oh hell yeah! Oh man, this is just my opinion. Whatever it's worth, it's probably nothing. But speaking for looking back, knowing the song ideas we had, there was at least 6 more songs. An album is 10 songs. We used 3. In my opinion, there was an entire album of songs that were absolute kill songs. Gene and I wrote one together called "I Want to Live," and I said, this has got to be on the album. I mean, are you kidding me? This is not going on there. I don't know what was going on in their world, but in my opinion, you just put the best songs on your record, the best. Otherwise. But what people's ideas are the best songs may not always be what someone else thinks. As far as I'm concerned, my own little opinion, Vinnie's opinion, was you go with this, and this. And you got a kill record. Unholy was kill. I Just Wanna was great. Heart of Chrome was great. But we came up with a song called Reptile House. You ever heard that?
I've heard the title before, yes.
Okay. Well, on Vinnie Vincent Archives, which is something that is in the plans still, but this world is changing now, and it'll be out in vinyl. But all of the work that we had done together for the Revenge album is going to hopefully, with their permission, be released on the Vinnie Vincent Archives. So all of these sessions that I talk about, all of these, here's the cassette deck right here, and we're going, hey, you like this idea? It's right here on the cassette deck. So all of that stuff that I captured out of all those years, from Creatures of the Night, Lick It Up, and Revenge, all on tape.
So let me pause you there for a moment, because obviously a lot of fans always ask about the Archives box set, right?
Yeah.
And maybe some people have been waiting 25 years to see that, right? What's the status of that?
The status is that God has opened up the Red Sea for Vinnie Vincent. And for a long time, the Red Sea was hard to get through. Anybody who studies the Bible kind of knows a little bit about that, what I'm talking about. But it's opened. I had nothing to do with it. So all these people that came into my world, my life, in the last year were not of my asking, it wasn't of my doing. So it was just whatever you want to call that power just said, all your work you've done is going to be. And here's all the people that I'm bringing to you. Here's how it's going to happen. Here's the people that are going to bring it to life. And here's my proof that this is going to be. So we're already into the mixing stage of a lot of the 2-inch masters that have been sitting for 30 years, over 30 years. And they are so full of blood pumping life that I'm shocked at what I'm hearing. So, the Vinnie Vincent Archives will be a collection of everything that will finally see the light of day. But what started over 25 years ago in a small, tiny format will be vinyl. It'll come to pass as vinyl. And it's going to be very impressive, the artwork. We've got most of the artwork done. So we're almost 4 albums of artwork and mixes, song mixes, recording, record mixes. We're very close. It's not going to be very long before this turns into reality. What date? I don't know. I have no date. So people always say, oh, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, thank you for those who have faith. If I could be Samantha and just go, life could be a lot easier, but some things that don't happen when you want them. They just happen when life says yes.
And I know, Vinnie, you and I were talking, and obviously everybody here, a lot of fans are excited for new music, right? But I think you also understand there's some fans that feel a little bit like, well, show me, right? Like, I've been waiting a long time, show me.
Of course.
What do you say to those fans?
Look, things aren't easy. They've never been easy for me. I'm always the underdog, and the way things happen for me is not how they happen for everybody else. Everybody else seems to get, I'm gonna put a record out, here, And for me, my last 25 years have been really difficult. So I gotta go with, however God works it out for me. And I can't even believe I'm talking to you saying, well, this is really gonna happen, because there was a point where I said, okay, you won. Whoever you are that said no, I figured, okay, you won, got it. But somebody finally said, never say never.
Well, we hope so. We hope you see that music. I do want to go back to Revenge, if you don't mind, though. During the time you were working on that with Paul and with Gene, did you see Eric Carl during that time? And were you aware that he was sick?
Very aware. The whole year we worked almost every day for an entire, almost 2 years. It was almost 2 years we were together, from almost the middle of '89 to middle of '91. And I knew Eric was very sick, and Eric and I talked a few times, and he passed away during the recording of that. And I did not see Eric. What was your question?
I was wondering if you knew Eric was sick, and if you had seen him, and if he was involved.
Oh no, I knew he was very, very sick. And I remember very clearly at that time, I was in denial of him, of how sick he was. And I didn't really want to know. So even today, it's very hard to accept it. But that moment back then, it was like, he's fine. He's all right. And that was how I looked at it. Was I know he's not, but in my mind, I'm saying he's okay.
Right.
And once we talked, it was strange. He sounded normal. He sounded just like he always did. And I didn't even want to ask him about anything, because I didn't want to face the reality of what I knew he was going through. But the few times we talked about in depth about a lot of things, and the things he wasn't happy about. And it was almost too big for me to be in his world, to know what he was going through. And then he passed. I wanted to know more about why. And I found out a few answers I wasn't happy about. But that's for another interview.
Okay. So then let's go on the brighter side, right? So obviously, like you said before, there's demos of the revenge songs with you playing Unholy, I Just Wanna, right? You were writing those songs with them.
We were.
I've heard rumors that there's even potentially some of your guitar parts made it to the final album. I don't know if that's true or not, but is there any part of you on the album?
Interesting. That's an interesting question. It could be. You know, we spent so much time together. And the Ramones, I remember, where Gene says, tape was rolling. Here, you play this part, you know. And it's very well could be. I just don't remember, because it was the studio after studio after studio, every day, 24 hours on call. But that's how we always worked.
Sure.
We were a 24-hour a day band. From writing, it was 24 hours a day. Recording, same way. I don't remember it being any other way. So I do remember sleeping on the couch at Right Track Studios in New York City during Look It Up. It was 5 a.m. and Gene said, "Wake up, you got to do a guitar solo." "Vinny, wake up." So I go, what? "Come on, you got to play a solo." I said, "What? You got to play? Come on, you need to play a lead." I said, No, I'm sleeping. No, you got to wake up. "Okay, give me like a pot of coffee, you know." But that's how we worked.
Did they ever ask you to do a solo credited on the Revenge album?
I do remember that, yes. But I won't answer that now.
Okay.
But I do remember, "Here, play this."
Right.
So, but I don't remember exactly, you know? My memory is a cloud, only because we were going from studio to studio to studio. And we were just recording songs as we were enhancing them and producing them. So it wasn't like we wrote everything and then went into the studio and it was all planned.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like growing as we were rolling the tape, you know? So we would, you know, even for the recording of Unholy, I have stacks of loose leaf binders with lyrics after lyrics of, okay, what was the most evil event that ever occurred throughout history? All right, let's go from here to here to here to here. We covered every you know, horrible event in the world, you know, or at least most of it. And so we were writing as we were recording, is what I remember.
Now, I know Bob Ezrin produced the album.
Bob, yeah.
And he has a writing credit on Hard Chrome.
Yes.
And I've heard, I believe, where it was actually you, Paul, and Bob in a room together. Sometimes the producer just modifies something, puts his name on it, it's a songwriter, but you actually wrote with Bob, is that correct?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Oh, Bob was great. I love Bob. He was fun to be around, and he was a good input. You know, he would go, because Paul and I were working with that song, and Bob was at Paul's house, and he was like, "Oh, you know, go play that. You know, I like that one. You know." Because, you know, it was the exchange of ideas, and Bob was really good to say, this one works, I like that one, no, don't do that one, you know. So sometimes having that outside person there with you that, you know, is familiar with the band, kind of steers the ship on it, you know. Yeah, Bob was great to work with.
During that time, obviously, Bruce Kulick was in the band.
Yes.
Did you ever see him during those sessions?
Yes.
How did he react to you writing the band?
Bruce I like Bruce quite a bit. Real nice. Yeah.
Did you ever think you were getting back into the band, or did you think it was just songwriting and that would be it?
That was a moment right there where you want my honest opinion?
Of course.
You want me to bullshit you?
No, give us honest.
two little words because it's me thinking this. But we formed this thing where, we were, the Vinnie, Gene, and Paul glue was beginning to, the bond was getting there creatively. And then we're talking about at that time, in my humble opinion, in my heart of hearts, in my private world of my own mind, I believe that there was a moment where if it was whoever was driving the car was going to turn the wheel. But there was a moment where it could have easily happened where I would have been back in the band. But this is my opinion. Don't take it as someone else's opinion.
Would you wanted to be back in the band at that time?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes in a big way. And maybe not quite as, and not for my own little reasons of no. But yes in a big way, of course, because we're just a natural team, So when you're natural, you want what feels natural to you, to be, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend and they feel so great to you, and it's, you have such a great relationship in a certain way, and you don't want, what are you going to look for someone else? This person works for me. They know me. I know them. And, it's a great marriage. But maybe there's something there that doesn't work, So it didn't happen. But it could have.
So coming
and
off
I mean, it really could have.
So coming off of that, then you went back to doing your own material.
Well, this was 1991. Now, the album, Eric passed away in November of 91. And I think it was either late 91 or early 92 the record came out.
May of 92.
What was it?
May of 92.
May of 92. Wow, you know this.
I don't know why I know. That's another issue altogether.
May of 92, wow. And what was your question? About?
You started working on your own material.
May of 92.
Right after, so after you worked with Kiss on the Revenge album,
I did.
Going back to putting that into your own material, you ultimately, I used to be paid in 95.
1995 or 96, I released a CP, but what I had done was go back to the record I had created, which was Guitar Mageddon. But, I started listening to everything and being kind of, this perfectionist, purist that I am. I go, I don't like that. I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it this. So then I started taking all those tracks and starting to go back into a studio to go, there's the verse I should have done. Okay, but now I got it, So I spent most of the 90s doing that. And then I said, well, geez, I got all these other tracks that I want to go. Most of the 90s I spent in a recording studio, one way or another. Going from power ballads to finishing up the Euphoria CD. That CD that were demos. They were just demos. And how that came about was I was doing a Kiss convention in Europe, and somebody said, you need to bring some music with you, CD. And I said, okay, I got these songs, blah, 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 blah. So I went in and demoed them, but it was just a demo. And I said, wow, I got all of that. Let me just turn that into master recordings. So master mixes, master recordings, so a demo is mainly your idea, your idea of what you think a song is going to be. Then it grows from there. So most of my 90s were recording, and boy, do I got a lot of stuff.
Is that some of the stuff that you think will be either on the archives box or some of the new material that you're coming to release?
Yes, everything I have is coming out. Everything. So there probably isn't anything that's not coming out. And I even wrote 2 country ballads, country music ballads. So those are coming out. I And hey, they're the real thing too. If you heard it, you would not think it's Vinnie
Well,
Vincent.
and I'll say this, I mean, you gave us a sample earlier today on some of the more melodic stuff.
Oh, the power ballads?
Yes, and I love that stuff. I think it's the best written stuff that you have. So I'm hoping that stuff also sees the light
Oh,
of day.
hell yeah. That's why it was like an introduction to say, you guys were here, you heard it. So when it's out on vinyl, you go, I was there, man, this is great, I love it, Yeah, so all this, it's all coming out, I know I can't believe I'm actually saying this and knowing for sure that it's really coming out, but it is, Before I would say it's coming because I gotta figure out how to do it, but it's all happening now. While we're speaking, it's happening.
And are these new recordings of those songs, or are they the original recordings from the 80s and
Well,
90s?
they're the original recordings, and some of it is updated as, well, we got the original recording, let's go listen to it and go, well, let's just make this piece a little bit this, or let's add that to that. So, but mainly it's all the original stuff.
Well, like I said, everybody here is excited, but there's going to be people out there saying, we want it, Vin, don't let us down.
It's okay, and they have a right to say that. I wish I was, like I said, I just wish I could press these little tiny buttons and go dun 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 dun, boom. But it just doesn't work that way for me, Only the privileged get to do that. I'm not as privileged as to be able to do that, So I have to wait my turn. So when God says, okay, you can do this. Here's your time. Here's your door. Here's how it works. I'm making it happen. Because sometimes I can beat my head against the wall and figure I've got all the answers on how to make something work. And it won't happen no matter what I do. You guys does that ever happen to you? You ever just want something so bad and you figure out a way to do it? And you figure, I'm going to make this happen. No matter what you do, it won't work. Has that ever happened? I mean, it's just life. I don't know. Yeah. So this time it looks like it's working. I got the right people. Everything's been going the way it's supposed to go. If everybody's good and they get their honor badge and it all works and this comes to fruition, I'm gonna be a happy clan,
Sounds excited. Now, I have to say, I actually really loved hearing that outtake or the demo from Real Systems Go album today. I've never heard that before. That was a great song.
Did you like that?
That was a great song.
Oh, thank you. You liked it. All right. I'm so glad you liked it. It was a song I thought, you'll love this, And one thing that I thought to myself after all this, I haven't allowed myself to embrace that album. And people have said to me, we love that record. And I said, well, I don't. We love that record. And I go, okay. So somewhere in all of this, I decided, well, why am I denying myself that album? It was different. It was different on its own basis. So I thought, I want to embrace that record now. I'm ready, even though I know the shortcomings of what it is, it's still part of my legacy. And the songs I do love. And I thought, with all the people who do love it, I will love it with them. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. And I have to tell you, Vin, I was surprised to actually hear you playing, say, one of the songs from that album. Because in the past, you have been a bit more negative, if I can say about that.
I react to art, So when I see a beautiful painting, it's the same thing happens to me. It's orgasm. So music is a work of art. If I hear it right and it is, I go, man, I love it. The first time I heard Whole Lot of Love, it was orgasm. I mean, I honestly orgasm. So if music doesn't have that for me, I'm disappointed, I'm let down. But this song particularly was so 80s, it felt so good, It just, something about it. I saw that beautiful period of time just flash, and it was like, no, it one after the image after another, and I'm like, man, wow. So it sounded so good, the recording was so good. I said, let's do this, you know? And I want to put this out so people could enjoy this, you know? I'm glad you liked it though.
No, I liked it a lot. So, you know, with your, I'll say newfound, I'll say appreciation or maybe acceptance is a better word.
Acceptance.
Is there any songs you listen to now and say, you know, I actually like that. That is a good version of that song.
There's so many. I loved almost every song on All Systems Go. That was supposed to be my crowning achievement. But okay, but the songs I loved. I still love them, and I think I listen to Love Kills and I say that's good. That's good. You know, there's still a few songs out there that really still say that's good. A lot of the rock stuff still good, you know. But if people, fans, you know, if they love that record, I will love that with them. So, you know, I would go, yeah, I love it. Okay, you know, I'm not going to fight it.
I love it. Last week you did a brief interview online and you mentioned possibly doing some live shows in the future.
Well, this is not the end of this.
Okay.
This is only the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But this all began with the Vinnie Vincent birthday bash.
Mm-hmm.
And then we said, well, that was so much fun. Let's have another one. And I think we did the Christmas show. You came to the Christmas show,
It's a
didn't you?
Christmas show, correct?
So it was all just feeling it out. And, you know, this is what I want to do. I just love being on stage, you know. This is like being 16 years old again. And I'm inviting my friends down to the basement, you know. And hey, you know, we're playing, you know, we're going to have a party at my basement.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, believe it or not, putting these shows on costs a fortune. So don't let this think this is not your basement, you know. It's very expensive to do this. But I wanted to have that again, you know. I didn't want to be in a stadium. I didn't want to be in a place that was just nothing but a big echo chamber. I wanted to be in the best controlled environment that was like a club atmosphere, but controlled. Because I don't want to play in a club. I just don't want to do that.
Okay.
Unless somebody's paying me a ton of money, I don't want to play in a club. Because clubs just, there's something that's dark and negative about a club. I don't know. But I thought if I could have a club, what would be the perfect club you would do something in? You know, where it's controlled, the sound is great, everybody's safe, I feel good there, and it's not people just, you know, riffraff walking in from wherever. And I thought, this is how I want to do this. So that's how this started to manifest itself. And so we went from the birthday bash, hey, we had fun. I remember Steve saying, you know, he drove from where's Steve? Steve Wilkie, where are you? You here? Here. This is my right arm. This is my heart, my soul. Steve Wilkie is my friend. Part of my team that is, you know, can't do anything with Steve. He kind of makes everything happen. This poor man, he drove up from South Carolina, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And I said, you know, we're having this birthday bash. I promised everybody food, so I'm cooking food at like 1 in the morning. I said, well, shit, I can't go to sleep. So, you know, I want food there. It's a birthday party. And so I'm cooking food like from 1 to 6, 7 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And he's driving up, and I haven't gone to sleep yet. He's driving up, and I'm going, Steve, where are you? He goes, I'm almost there. It took him 7 hours to drive up. So I said, I'm not finished with the food yet. You know? So he says, well, you know, we'll meet you up there. I'll be at the hotel. And it's okay. So I'm loading up my car with all this food, and I said, are we going to make this? Is this going to happen? He said, yeah, we'll make it. So it's like, by the time we got here, it was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he says, everybody's waiting at the hotel. They're getting pissed off. I said, shit. I said, okay, we'll set up everything really fast. So we set everything up. We put everything on the table. And I'm like, we're going to get the table up, get all the food down. And I said, Steve, are we going to do this? Yeah. I said, well, shit, what about my hip? So just put a mic in front of it, because I wanted to play, you know. And so I had my little baby amps, but I had it. It was sounding good. So we had. Did you come, son?
Yeah.
You were here, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I said, oh shit, just put the mic in front of this and turn it up, So I was playing on stage and I go, man, I'm happy. Just happy. I've been up all for 24 hours straight. I'm just cooking food, So we got everything here. Poor Steve. He's going to drive. He's driving. We got the food in the car. He's driving. He said, "We're gonna make it." It was like a comedy. Oh shit! It's like a comedy. Just getting the food, get the amps. I said, "Okay." I'm on stage playing. Oh fuck! Man, this is so funny. So, okay, guys, you have to excuse me, but this is kind of letting off a lot of, this is like after months of preparing for everything. So, anyway, I thought we had a great time. We're driving home like at 2 in the morning. I had a great time, And I said, is that a giraffe in the road? He said, because I was so tired. I said, when are you going to hit the giraffe? He said, what are you talking about? There's a fucking giraffe in the road. It's just how I was hallucinating because I was so tired. So I'm driving. He's driving on falling asleep. Oh, you there? I said, yeah, you good? It took 2 hours to get home. And I said, man, we had a great time. Let's do this again. That's how let's do this again, So, you just like, it's punishment, but there's like a reward, here we are, 5 shows later,
Yeah.
So, but then, halfway through all this, I said, I just don't want to just get up there and play. Let's do some songs. But I got an idea how to do this. So, of course, God says, well, here's Carrie. He's going to make this all work for you. And Phil and Rob. And, we're going to make it all happen with the right people to make Vinnie be in where I wanted to be, in my own environment. Listen, I got the best band I ever wanted right now. Because if this technology was available in 1986, you would have seen Vinnie Vincent Invasion just like what you saw tonight.
Interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I think, Vinnie, to me, that's one of the things that I take away from having been at some of these events. Your reaction just now to me was so genuine. You can see you're so happy. Right? And I know that, and there's a lot of people on the internet still that say, Vinnie can't play, we haven't seen the video, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Love that. I love that.
But clearly you're happy, and you're content with the format the way it is.
It's I love hearing these stories when you can't play. Right? I don't know where that even comes from, but it's like somebody comes up with something. But that's the way the internet is today. Hey, I got an idea. Let's just say this person does this. Yeah. And then you got the little world of trolls. Yeah. And they just kind of fabricate. They kind of normalize this thing like it's the truth. Okay, great, you idiots. More fucking morons. I just sit there and I go laugh. I go, yeah, right. But see, I keep these shows are private, that nobody records them, Nobody has it. There's no way to know any of this. So that's what's so great about this, Because there's going to be a point where it's not going to be private anymore, I'm doing this to keep control over what people see, and when I'm ready for people to see it, I do it my way. I do everything my way, which is not how everybody else does stuff. Everybody else says, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, see, that's how I do, see. And I get them all, they pop up on my phone all the time. I look at it and I go, oh, yeah, not you again. And then I go, and I see people I love, people that I would pay $5,000 for their autograph, you know? And I go, I really wish you were not on my phone every day, you know? And I really wish you were not just pontificating to me every day about what you think and what you want to do. I just, it's not my way, you know? My way is like, you know, when I'm ready to tell somebody something, I'll tell it, you know?
Well, at your last party, you were mentioning putting out possibly a DVD from it. Is there any status update you can give us on that?
Yeah, we've been looking at the footage of it, so it's pretty interesting. There's times where the footage is like shaky, you know, and times where it's stabilized, so gotta find little parts where it all says, okay, this is good, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
go ahead.
No, this was the last scheduled show, you know? And when I say scheduled, it was like, there was no more really planned after this, because I didn't want this to go on and on and on, you know, because you see how private it is, you know? And I really wanted this to be, let's blow it out here, you know? And because I know the next months are gonna be getting the music ready to put out. But I don't know, you know, if there is one more, it may be a Christmas show with Vinnie and friends, and I would bring in some people that everybody, you know, guest artists that everybody knows. But it would be different than this, you know?
Yep.
And we would all get up on stage and play together, and, you know.
Nice.
You know?
We'll look forward to that. And I know, like I
Would you
said,
guys like something like that? A Vinnie and friends show? Yeah. I mean, artists that you all know? Yeah. That would be fun, right?
Yeah.
We'll see.
well, I want to give you a chance to sign and meet everybody here that you want to. Then I want to say thank you for doing this with me again. Is there
I loved
anything
it.
else you want to leave your fans with before
Well,
we
you're
wrap
the
up?
only person I will talk to.
And I want to thank you
Okay.
again.
I don't give interviews anymore. No more. He's the only one I will talk to.
Everybody already did, but thank you. Vinnie Vincent, thank you, Vinnie.
Thank you, Mike. Love you, my friend.
Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank Vinnie Vincent for giving me the exclusive access to this interview at his party. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks so much, Vinnie. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks again, Vinnie, and we look forward to hopefully hearing new music from you in the future. See everybody soon. Thanks for watching.